unexplained mysteries, real people, real UFOs. Why are there so many sightings in a picturesque little town in Florida? What you're looking at is extraordinary footage of something, perhaps a spacecraft, floating in the sky above the trees. Welcome to Gulf Breeze, Florida. It's a beautiful resort town on the Gulf Coast, otherwise unremarkable.
And we have over 500 witnesses, and we have about 262 recorded sightings, and we've investigated almost 200 of those.
A group of concerned Gulf Breeze residents are carrying out the investigations. Most of them belong to MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, determined to get to the bottom of UFO mysteries.
We call the military. We're told, no, we did not have anything in the area at the time that you had your sighting. Of course, there will be those that say, well, that's the typical military response.
In 1987, Ed Walters and his wife Frances took incredible photographs of a UFO. At first, Ed was concerned that he would be mocked, but eventually he sent them to Dwayne Cook, publisher of the Gulf Breeze Sentinel. Dozens of people came forward to relate their own accounts.
One of the more recent videos shows a light that was red, and all of a sudden it turns white and starts flashing. These extremely brilliant pulses of light. It appears that it's as if the actual size of the image, which would be related to the size of the light source itself, changed in like 1/30th of a second or so, from one TV frame to the next. We don't have anything that could do that, so far as I know.
Soon, dozens of people turned out at night and captured UFOs on videotape. To videotape a UFO at night is one thing, but capturing one in the light of day minimizes the possibility of hoaxing.
We now are going through a series, it seems, of daylight sightings.
The photo and video evidence that we've recently seen from Gulf Breeze is far more important than all the previous UFO photo and video evidence combined.
90% of sightings happen at night. Only 10% are reported during the day. And now, more people are stepping forward as UFO eyewitnesses.
People like doctors and lawyers and real estate people, and it's just not a bunch of lunatics running around saying that they saw lights in the sky.
This is footage of one of the Gulf Breeze UFOs.
The daylight sightings that we've had of the last year have all been authenticated. The photographs, the videos, the witnesses have all proved positive.
Ed Walters saw unusual bright flashes in the sky, but this time in daylight.
Panning around here, 360, there's the sand dunes, that's the north. Oh, jeez, goodness gracious. Over those dunes right there.
A shiny object that floats in the sky briefly, then vanishes.
There she is, right there. Oh my God, just hovering right there. Oh, Jesus, wouldn't you know it?
Video analyst Jeff Sainio authenticates Walter's tape.
Notice particularly when he sees the object, how the oscilloscope shows that the camera was indeed bounced around. You'll see a lot of video disturbance there, which is typical of a raw video of a camera that's been bounced around. That eliminates editing as a possibility for creating this thing.
Walters also took this photo of what he claims is a fighter jet's near collision with a UFO.
And the jet was continuing on and passed right, looked to me like it was headed right at the UFO.
Some people claim that Walters is simply a sophisticated hoaxer.
Judge me if you will, but the fact is I videotaped and saw a UFO.
This daylight UFO footage is particularly revealing.
The UFO, as he observed it, came out of the southeast. It moved over his head at an incredibly fast speed and disappeared out to the northwest. This particular sighting in itself was a landmark sighting in that it actually showed the UFO disappearing or leaving, as it were.
See it coming in here, it's very indistinct, appears to be moving relatively slowly. So here's a slowdown of the same video, object hovering there motionless,
zips off instantaneously, barely make it out as it zips off to the right. The object was about 3 miles away on the left side, got up to about 2 miles away on the right side, was doing about 4,000 miles an hour.
Another resident captured a UFO on tape. Both its flight pattern and its shape are similar to the others.
The various videos corroborate each other. They corroborate previous witness testimony. And so the pieces of the puzzle all fit together.
With all the UFO sightings, membership in MUFON is growing.
There's a program afoot to try to slowly educate people all over the world that we're not alone. Who knows, maybe one of those days we'll have that landing on the White House lawn experience where no longer is there any doubt that they're here, they're among us.
Hundreds of eyewitnesses, daylight UFOs, compelling encounters. But what do they mean?
I do believe there is a growing pattern of contact which suggests that we are getting closer to actually meeting the neighbors. Gulf Breeze is part of that pattern.
A police station in Cleveland, Ohio. This is the actual official statement recorded by Detective John Healy.
I have with me in my office at the present time Detective John Healy. Healy's going to describe in his own way of an incident that had occurred last night.
Okay, we left Port Columbus Airport at about 10:30 last night. It had a steady red light on its nose. It was cigar-shaped, and it had a green light shining down out of the aft end.
Detective Healy flew in a routine training exercise the previous night. Over the town of Mansfield, Ohio, the men encountered a UFO.
We were almost involved in a mid-air collision. I noticed a red light, but I thought it would be the port wing of another aircraft. We saw it kept coming at us. It didn't have any wings. It didn't have any windows, as you would see on a conventional aircraft.
The other crewmen saw the UFO and documented the incident in an official military report. But Healy insists on coming forward to talk publicly about this life-threatening event.
This object moved at a very fast rate of speed. It saw us probably before we saw it. It just tracked us because we had all our navigation lights on and running and blinking.
Over the town of Mansfield, the UFO got so close, the pilot had to initiate evasive maneuvers.
The pilot put the helicopter into a dive.
The chopper descended at 500 feet per minute. When it reached an altitude of 1,700 feet, the UFO shot a tractor beam at the helicopter.
This was just a humongous green light just shining down on us in a very definite cone shape. You could look at the light and you could actually see the beam of the light.
Suddenly, the light somehow pulled the chopper up towards the UFO.
It scanned us for that instant that it hesitated over us. It scanned us. Then it took off.
After the object went off to the west, the helicopter pilot noted that although he had been in a descent and his controls were in the configuration for a descent, the helicopter had actually risen to 3,800 feet. The object was under continual observation for 5 minutes, perhaps even more.
Further confirmation of the UFO incident came from two people on the ground, Irma DeLong and her son Charles.
The kids kept hollering, they wanted to stop,
She finally stopped the car and I jumped out. I remember the whole top of the sky was lit up a dull fluorescent green.
To be honest, it scared me. I was scared at that time. But it didn't sink in that it was still really something, a UFO.
This brought together two groups of witnesses. It established the exact location of the event. We were able to compute the flight path of the helicopter.